afternoon. My name is Yusef Miller, Y-U-S-E-F, and I'm here with Ms. Paloma Serna, and we are of the North County Equity and Justice Coalition and Saving Lives in Custody, California. And we want to welcome you here today with people who are impacted, families who have lost loved ones in custody. And as you can see behind me, there's a mass of people who have felt this same sorrow. Just like my colleague here, Paloma Serna, in the loss of her daughter, we have families upon families upon families behind us, and families upon families that are calling in or just wasn't able to be here today. This group of activists and advocates for jail change has come here together to say that we are sick and tired of the loss of life that is done from callous and neglect, and our families just grow from the next announcement that we have that there's an in-custody death, in-custody death, in-custody death. As now, we have 7 in-custody deaths for the year, and if we keep up at this pace, we'll probably be, we hope not, our families, our organization hopes that we have no more loss of life, but at this pace, we will reach 12 at the end of the year, which outpaces last year, which was 9. The year before that, 13. So we're going in the wrong direction, and we implore the Sheriff's Department to make changes and to implement those changes so that we can have people survive in custody. In custody is not a death sentence, nor should anyone die unnecessarily, especially from neglect in these jails. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Paloma Serna, and if you could say a few words before we start introducing the families.
My name is Paloma Serna. I'm the mother of Elisa Serna, who died November 11, 2019 at Las Colinas. 5.5 years ago, we're still facing the same problems. It's just not the high in custody death, but it shows how the Sheriff's Department are still trying to back out of being held responsible for these preventable deaths. And still they're delaying and they're still denying families answers, truth to what truly happened to their loved ones. And it's not right, it's not fair. It should not be this way at all. These are human beings. These are members of the society of here of San Diego. We have the right to know what happened. And if so, who is responsible and what will happen to them. Because we all know if it was you and I, we would have been charged, tried, and convicted in the first year. This does not have to be prolonged anymore. So we are here to ask CLERB to help support us, to truly support the families. They are a citizen review board. They are here for the people. So we need their help, and we thank you.
Thank you. And what we're here to ask for is transparency. Transparency is never the enemy. Accountability is never the enemy. We're asking for transparency and accountability in files, whether it's video or audio. A letter has been sent to the CLERB personally announcing that that's what we're asking for and demanding for, that the Sheriff's Department does not destroy evidence that could bring clarity to some of the issues that are going on in the jails. Right now, we will hear from our attorney, Grace Junn.
Hi, everyone. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. My name is Grace Junn. First name Grace, last name spelled J-U-N. I am a local civil rights attorney here in San Diego. I have had the pleasure of representing Paloma Serna, and I represent a number of the impacted families who stand behind me. I want to talk a little bit about the demand that Saving Lives in Custody has made to CLERB to help preserve critical video and audio evidence that the Sheriff's Department is now erasing or destroying. How do we know that this evidence is being erased and destroyed? Well, once the families bring litigation, they go through a discovery process. And as the impacted family members are trying to find out how their loved one died in custody and to hold responsible people, to hold the deputies responsible and other employees of the Sheriff's Department responsible, they've gone through and discovered that there are huge chunks of video missing. So one thing that we think that CLERB can do to positively at least positively affect the outcome for families, impacted families, is to immediately take steps to ensure the preservation of critical video and audio evidence. CLERB is now able to go to the scene of a death in custody and to actually walk around the area and participate and observe the investigation of an inmate's death. During that process, we are urging CLERB to take steps to make sure that all the video and audio is preserved. So one of the things that's happening in our cases is that the video in the hallways for the cells are being destroyed and lost. But that video is critical to show if a safety check has been deficient, if deputies just walked by, if somebody was hanging or in distress or needed help, and the deputies ignored that by walking by. Once CLERB goes into the jail immediately after a death happens in custody, we're asking CLERB to identify and start requesting that video from critical points throughout the jail that will demonstrate what happened, so we can have a truly transparent investigation that will increase public trust in all public agencies. So we have a copy of the letter. It's been sent out. The other thing I want to mention is that there are the family members of recent individuals who have died in custody who are present, and I want to talk a little bit about why we are having recurring problems at the jail. The family of Callan Lines is here. Callan passed away in May of this year at Las Colinas. She was suffering from fentanyl withdrawal. She also had a history of fentanyl abuse. That death is eerily similar to the death of Viana Granillo, and we have Viana's mother here. Viana died in 2022 in Las Colinas. She too admitted that she abused fentanyl and that she was at risk of withdrawing from fentanyl. So let's talk about the original one in 2019. In 2019, Elisa Serna died in November 2019. She died at Las Colinas. Same jail, same problem. Elisa admitted to abusing alcohol and opioids. She was going through withdrawal, and she was not treated, and instead she was neglected. So 2019, Elisa Serna. 2022, Viana Granillo. 2025, Callan Lines. 3 women who have passed away, all at the same jail, all from untreated drug withdrawal. Certainly things need to start changing. We also have the family of Linda Bagby here. Linda passed away in June of this year, also at Las Colinas. You'll be hearing a little bit about Linda, her family's search for what actually happened, and the fact that other inmates in the jails have reached out to the family to tell them that Linda was asking for help and she was requesting assistance, but that was not responded to. And then finally, the family of Corey Dean is not here, but Corey Dean is the individual at the Vista jail who recently passed away. Corey was in administrative segregation at Vista when he passed away. He was a severely mentally ill individual who needed care. His death is unfortunately eerily similar to the death of Matthew Settles. We have the Settles family here. Matthew Settles died in 2022 while he was in administrative segregation. Matthew was also a severely mentally ill individual who did not receive psychiatric care and who died in ADSEG. So when the families speak, you'll be able to see that there are patterns of misconduct that keep happening, and there's nothing that's breaking this. No improvements that we can really see that are being made. And so I hope that you'll have the opportunity to listen to directly from the families about the impact this is having on all of them.
Thank you, Attorney John. Now we'll hear from a representative from the Lyons family.
Hi, my name is Dano McCarthy, D-A-N-O-M-C-C-A-R-T-H-Y. My daughter was Callan Lines, C-A-L-L-E-N-L-I-N-E-S. This is my daughter, Taylor. Where do I start? Callan was smart. She was funny. She was beautiful. She was a certified nurse's assistant. She struggled from addiction. She was also a wife. She was a mother. She was a sister. And she was our daughter. She was arrested on on Mother's Day of this year and died at Las Colinas the following evening. Our whole quest is to try to get clarity. I just want to know what happened to her. And that's about all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we'll hear from the family of Back Bay.
Okay. Hi, my name is Brenda Gallardo, BrendaGallardo, and I was the sister of Linda Bagby. She was arrested in January and had been there for 6 months, and she was found unresponsive on June 13th. So we're just here in support of saving lives in custody, and we too want answers as to what happened to our sister. She was a mother and grandmother, and she deserves justice. We just want to know what happened to her. We still don't have any answers, so. This is her daughter, Ashley.
My name is Ashley Turman, Turman, and I'm the oldest daughter of Linda Bagby. When we've tried to reach out to the jail for any answers, there's been no response. We've put in a total of 3 calls for the watch commander within the first week of her passing, and there's still been nothing. The reception would direct us to the homicide department. They found her unresponsive at 4:25, and I didn't receive a call from the examiner's office until 11:47 p.m. the night that she had passed away. So, as my aunt said, it's just answers. There was a significant amount of weight gain during the time that she was there, which is concerning, but just the lack of response from really any time our family's tried to reach out, there's been no response. And then they tell us 6 to 9 months for the cause of death. So
We too want video.
we also asked to preserve or Grace did, all of the evidence. We tried to get the stuff that was in her cell, like the things that we had ordered and sent in there, like her Bible and some books, and they had said it was nowhere to be found. So there was no property in her cell that they were able to retrieve. So, but other than that, yes, we would like answers and change, or so things like this can stop occurring.
And Ms. Malone, what answers? She had a personality bigger than life. She did not know a stranger, which I always thought was embarrassing as a little girl, and now it's something that I really miss.
Thank you, family. And once again, we will hear from another family of a woman who had lost her life in Las Colinas, from Vienna Granell.
Hello, my name is Diana Sanchez, Sanchez. My daughter was Viana Granillo. She died July 13th, 2022 in Las Colinas. My daughter was, she was arrested July 8th, 2022, and booked into Las Colinas. She was suffering from withdrawal from opiates, from fentanyl. They failed to put her in a, she let them know that she was suffering from fentanyl withdrawals. They failed to put her in a detox unit. They failed to give her medication. She told them that she was suffering. She let the deputies know. She told them, I'm hurting, I need medication. They failed to listen to her. The intercoms were not working. 3 days later, they found her unresponsive in her cell. When they took her out, they failed to initiate 911 services, and even then, they didn't give her CPR for 14 minutes. My daughter was, she was a beautiful soul, and I miss her every day. She left behind a 7-year-old He was 4 at the time, but you know, my daughter did not deserve to die the way she did. Just because she was an addict, she was looked upon. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't perform CPR right away. I don't understand why they didn't initiate. I mean, they just saw her for 14 minutes just suffering on the floor. Why didn't they right away call 911? Why did they look at her and just not do what they were supposed to do as human beings? The deputies just, you know, I want answers. I want transparency. I want accountability. I want to know why she suffered for so long. 3 days? I mean, what were they doing for 3 days? My daughter was suffering. I can't help but think for 3 days, from July 8th to the 13th. What were they doing? I have 2 other families here that also, Callan was also an addict, and I know I've seen my daughter suffer. I myself am a recovering addict. I didn't do that drug, but I know that just because you're an addict doesn't mean that you don't need the best medical attention. And you know what? I've seen my daughter suffer, and that's not okay. Just to you know, you need best medical care, and she suffered. I know my daughter suffered from July 8th to the 13th. And then to get that phone call and say, I'm sorry, Ms. Sanchez, but we did everything we could to save your daughter's life. That's not okay. It is not okay. CLERB, please do your job. Do your job, investigate, because these deaths, it's not okay for us to bury our children. In 2019, they should have done their job with Elisa Cernet. Have you seen the footage of how her daughter died? How those deputies just turned their backs on her after her hitting her head? How many times she went into seizures? That's ridiculous. The medical staff and the deputies just turned their backs on her. That is not okay for somebody to look at a human being and see them suffer that way. Now, I can only imagine the way they did that to my daughter. My daughter was a mother. She was my daughter. She was a sister. They're human beings just because they're addicts or mental illness. That is not okay. Please, CLERB, do your job. These deputies need to be held accountable. They need to have some kind of action. It's not okay. I don't know who they are that did that to my daughter. And then they come out with a tank that was broken. Then they took their sweet time. I don't know, but I want accountability. I want answers. My daughter deserved to live. She really did. She was only 25 years old. I will never get to see her married. She will never get to see her grandson graduate high school. And that is not okay. I want the system to change. There needs to be changes.
Thank you for that impassionate plea for change and reform. Next, we're switching facilities over to George Bailey, and we're going to hear from the family of Matthew Settles, from the Settles family.
All right. Hello, I'm David Settles, brother of Matthew Settles, last name S-E-T-T-L-E-S. This is my mom, Brenda Settles, and my brother, John Settles. Matthew Settles, my brother, passed away at George Bailey in August of 2022. Matthew had schizophrenia. He was diagnosed when he was in college in UCLA. He went through a lot of tribulations when he was young, dealing with his schizophrenia, but he got through it with the support of our family. And Matthew needed assistance, but he meant a lot to us, and we had a lot of good years with him. He grew up with my kids and my brother's kids. He was a great uncle. He had no money, but he always thought of us, buying presents on the holidays. He was always interested in reading the classics. He went back, even though he had his engineering degree, he went back and got a philosophy degree. He went on family vacations with us. We every year went hiking with him. He loved climbing in the Sierras. So we had a lot of good years with Matthew. And a couple years before he passed away, he had some more mental health issues and went into the county medical system where he needed to get that treatment. He was delusional. And then he was taken out of that system and brought to the downtown county jail, not put in the general population where he was assaulted. And my mom was trying to find out what was happening to him. We didn't know he was put in there, and he was transferred to George Bailey without us knowing. And to this day, we don't know what happened to Matthew. Those 2 months he was back in jail. He was in admin segregation, even though he was schizophrenic, delusional, needed that help and treatment. And still, we don't know what he went through, at the time or even now. So, having some video of what Matthew went through would give my mom some peace. I know she wonders what he was in isolation, despondent. It was terrible what he was going through. So to have videos, that's why we're out here, supporting my brother. Yeah, and all the families. So, thank you.
Why mental health treatment in the jails for people who are mentally ill? It's way substandard and it needs to change.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. Is the sheriffs failed him in providing proper mental facilities. They put him into units with no dedicated psych units, and it never should have happened. They failed him. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Suttles family. And now I'd like to introduce Attorney Chelsea Weirman.
My name is Chelsea Rearman, CHELSEAREHERMAN. I'm a civil rights attorney at Iredale and U. And as you can tell, just from hearing from these families, one thing that they want most is accountability, of course, but answers. And that takes years, unfortunately, because they have to file a civil rights lawsuit. And in the case of our clients, Frankie Greer and Tammy Wilson, the wife of Omar Moreno Arroyo, when they file these lawsuits, they find out during discovery that evidence has been withheld or quote unquote lost, critical evidence that would have shown deputies performing or not performing safety checks. And the only way to hold them accountable, unfortunately, is if CLERB takes action. And we demand them to take action and to start grabbing evidence and preserving it, because the county won't do so. They've been getting away with this for years, and we hope CLERB will take action.
Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce the family of Saxon Rodriguez.
Hello, my name is Sabrina Weddle. I'm here with my mom, Cindy Weddle. We're the family of Saxon Rodriguez, who died 4 years ago at San Diego Central Jail off of fentanyl and methamphetamine, similar to a lot of the new cases that we continue to see pop up. I'm here today to tell Kelly Martinez, for the first woman to run the San Diego Sheriff, she's continuing to do a horrible job. She broke history, and she will continue to break history with allowing these deaths to continue to happen. One of the most common factors here is that all of these families were in the hands of the San Diego Sheriffs, and they failed to do their sworn duty. Who's bringing in the drugs, and why won't Kelly Martinez scan her staff? Is it because they're the drug dealers? All the women that have died here have died at the same jail, whereas the men are at different jails. Vista, San Diego Jail, George Bailey. Who's bringing in the drugs, Kelly Martinez? Again, you would think that somebody who made history as being the first woman to run the San Diego Sheriff, she would make change. There's been no change. I also have Pedro Jr., that's on my shirt. He asked for help twice. He was not seen until he was already in the hospital. He asked for help, just like Elisa Serna, just like Hayden Schuck. And you know what the San Diego Sheriffs continues to do? Delete the footage of their wrongdoing. And they continue to get to go to work, making 6 figures on top of the drugs that they're selling. Today's Saxon Rodriguez's little brother's birthday. Seth Rodriguez, he turns 22 today. And yet I'm here at CLERB because his brother is dead. I'm so sick of adding to my family and friends because we lost a loved one in custody. I didn't even have to introduce myself to half of the news people here because I've already been doing this. Where's the fentanyl coming from, Kelly Martinez and CLERB? Why did we pull our support from AB 847? Did I say it right? Is it because you guys are cowards? Because you guys are afraid to stand up to Kelly Martinez? Well, I'm not. And I will continue to stand out here and ask why she sucks at being in charge. Thank you.
Thank you. You've heard from the families who are here. We want to also discuss families who could not be here.
You know, before I do that, I just want to make a point of what the other families, what they stated about the Las Colinas jail. Elisa died 5.5 years ago. After her death, you would have thought that the sheriff department would have nipped that immediately and changed the way that they took care of individuals incarcerated, but they did not. So after Elisa died, we have 5 families, 5 women who had died there. It's a shame that here we are, deja vu all over again. So who are not here, but still, I would like to recognize these families because they will be on Zoom. It's Tammy Wilson. Also too, we would have Kevin Mills' families. Tammy is Omar Moreno's wife. And also too, we would have Hayden Schuck. We will have also, we have Kevin Mills. And then we have also too, Raymond Vogelman, Leslie Crawford will be on. And then also too, not only will they be on, we have LA County impacted families and also Riverside County who are watching because they're fighting for the same thing. So, you know, let's continue to put the pressure on the sheriff department and also on CLERB. Thank you.
We're about to head up to CLERB so we can stand at the in front of the board and give them the same request that we have for you today and let them know that they received the letter that we're asking for transparency and demanding transparency, and that they encourage or demand that the sheriff's department not destroy these evidence, which is very crucial to families understanding what happened to their loved ones and for litigation on issues like this. Gilbert Gill out of Vista as well, and also so many other families that just couldn't be here with us today sends their support for the families that have just lost their lives this year, and they will be on Zoom at the meeting. So I want to now open it up for any questions for individual families, and keeping in mind we have to be upstairs by 5:30.
Can you just speak, concisely about why is it so critical to preserve this evidence, this video evidence specifically?
It's so critical to preserve this video evidence is because the transparency is lost and evasive without it. We need to know exactly step by step what happened, not some summary of someone's account, not some true or false statement of someone else, exactly what is seen on video. That's the transparency we saw in the Cerna case. And that's exactly what we need to see. Objective, hard evidence, and that is not open to interpretation, much interpretation.
And I would like to add to that also too, because originally when you go back and look at Elisa's case, CLERB initially stated that they found no one at fault. And they changed that finding later on. But the video, I don't believe they watched those videos at all. So the videos make a big difference.
Yusuf, in the case of destroying evidence, you or Grace, is video only in these cases being lost? Is video constantly being dumped?
Constantly. You know, we're here where our lawyers would sue for, and when they have to sue for, evidence, whether it's audio from the call buttons or videos. It's if we have them, they're sporadic, they're not continuous. We have one case where hours and hours and hours have been deleted and lost. We don't know where it is. We're asking the Sheriff's Department, where are these hundreds of hours for Mr. Shuck? Where are these hours? So we see this loss of evidence, and we think that we have no choice but to think it's purposefully. Now, it's up to the Sheriff's Department to prove to us that it's not purposeful. But we are here as family members. We're lacking information. We're lacking clarity. So we can only say, show us the evidence. That's what we're here for. Thank you.
The federal judge that sent down the order regarding Hayden Shuck's death, recent order there, said that even if that video evidence shows nothing, nothing is still something. How do you think that applies to all these families as well?
I think that's absolutely right, because the nothing not only clarifies what happened, but it exonerates the Sheriff's Department. So they should be forthcoming with such evidence. So this nothing is something to the family, because at least they know. These families are not here looking for blood. They're looking for answers. And if that answer is a non-answer, they're satisfied. If that answer is an answer where someone needs to be held accountable, then satisfied. So nothing, even if it's on the video, is something to these families. Thank you, everyone.